All right, so it's Monday. It's that time of the week again. It's time for Model Monday. We're switching it up because that's what we like to do here. We like to switch things up as frequently and as possible. Um, I've been doing long form this class for a long form version of this class for many years, where it's like an hour long. But I'm going to try to, I always do a prep of the drawing that we're going to do before class. So, and I wanted to have a short form version to put on YouTube. So I'm going to try to do a speed run of the project for the day, which is this ice cream maker. We made ice cream maker version 1 last week. Version 2 is a little bit sleeker, different container. But without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. You can see it right here in our drawing, and the way it works is it rotates around, and while it's in your freezer, it rotates around and it freezes the ice cream very slowly, is my understanding, because it's rotating. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to start a new design. In that new design, I'm going to create a new component, and that new component is going to be our paper container. Our paper container is going to be made from a revolved sketch. So I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch. I'll create a line straight up from my origin, the height of my paper container. I'll create a line at the top of that line, straight to the right. 3.95 is the diameter of our container, so I'm just going to divide that by 2. You can do math right in these measurements, which is really handy. The diameter of the bottom of our container is 3.92. I'm also going to divide that by the 2 because obviously we're drawing a radius right now. And then I just have to connect those dots. All right, do a little cleanup. Move that off to the side here. I'm going to make a little rectangle here that is 3/4 of an inch tall. That is the wrong measurement. It is 3/4 of an inch tall. All right, that is that sketch complete. So I'm going to go ahead and name it. And then I'm going to revolve it. Oakley dokley. All right, now just to connect all the dots here, top of our paper container, I'm going to create a sketch on. Just going to offset a circle here that is negative zero point 0.2 inches in because we got a little recess on the top of our container here. I'm actually going to do negative 0.15. You know what it is it's actually negative 3/16 I measured. All right. Finish that sketch. We'll call that, nope, finish that sketch. Call that top. I'm going to extrude this top inwards. And yeah, 0.1's probably fine. All right. Turn that off. Let's do the bottom. Create another sketch down here. Offset that sketch. How thick is my paper? That is a fine question and a number that I don't know off the top of my head. 0.08. Negative 0.08. And finish that sketch. We'll name that sketch bottom. You can notice even though I'm going fast here, I am not skimping on naming my sketches. We're going to extrude that bottom recess in negative 0.5 inches. That's going to be a cut just like that. And just like that, our paper container is almost done. We just need to add 2 fillets right here at the top. Not that much of a fillet, Carl. All right. Done. All right, I'm going to turn off my bottom. I'm going to make my main document component my active component again. And I'm going to create another new component. This is going to be our bracket. I'm going to go ahead and create a sketch for my bracket. I'm going to go ahead and just create it right at the middle of this whole thing. Our bracket, do I want to do the bracket first or do I want to do the holder first? I actually think I want to do the holder first. So I'm going to finish this sketch. I'm going to go back to my main document again here. I'm going to make another new component because I want to do the holder before I do the bracket. I'll use that bracket component later. I'm just going to start by creating a sketch right at the middle of that component here, right at the middle of my world. And I'm going to project an intersection. I'm going to project an intersection of a body, and that is the body that I'm going to project that intersection of. So you see I've got like an outline of where that plane intersects with that three-dimensional shape there. So now I can make an offset of that, an 1/8 of an inch offset of that to be precise. I'll draw a little line down here at the bottom. Actually, I can draw a line right from the bottom all the way to the top. Just like that. And tell you what, let's add a constraint that makes this line that we drew parallel to the side of our container wall. That kind of makes sense in my brain hole. All right, finished sketch. I'm going to revolve that as well. So I'm going to come up here to create and then down to revolve. This little outside bit is the item that I'm going to revolve around for me. What is my blue axis? Of course, I can revolve it around any cylinder that rotates around that axis too. So the top edge there works fine. I'm going to do 30 degrees and I'm going to make it symmetric. New body is good. I'm going to go ahead and say okay. I got a sketch to name. This is my profile. Sure, that'll work. All right, now let's go ahead and make a tangent plane right there. Let's draw a circle on it. Right. Actually, tell you what, let's do this. Let's project that top edge and that bottom edge. And then I'm going to draw a line right from the top to the bottom. Turn that into a construction line by hitting the X key. And now I can draw a circle right at the middle of that. Let's make it a 1.5. Yeah, 1.5 inch circle looks good. The center of that circle is going to get a it's going to get a 5.5 millimeter opening, and that's because I'm putting a heat insert, threaded insert in there. And those threaded inserts need to have a 5.5 millimeter opening, and that'll be perfect for an M4. And now I just need to create a couple of circles. These are going to be 3 millimeter circles. And I need to make a circular pattern of them all the way around the outside of this shape here. All right, so now I can go ahead and say finish sketch. This is going to be my mount. So I'm going to mount this piece to my bracket that I'm about to make it. I'm going to extrude out this item, and I'm going to choose to extrude this instead of a direction. I'm going to extrude it I'm sorry, instead of a distance, I'm going to extrude it to an object. So that'll join that right to that object, as I have join selected there. All right, done and done. We just need to make a mirror of that body. Tell you what, here's a pro tip. Name your body before you mirror it. Holder. And if I now mirror that holder body over that plane in the middle, boom, now we got two sides. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and create a helical gear. It's going to be a 30-tooth gear. It's going to be 8 millimeters. I'm going to preview it, and it's actually going to be a module 2 gear. And I'm going to make it a herringbone gear, because that's fun for me. I'm going to change its position to be on that plane, centered on that little ring deal right there. And I'm going to say, okay. Now it's making it outside of my holder component, so I'm just going to drag it inside of the holder component there. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my mount. I'm going to turn off this gear because I need to extrude out these little holes. I need to extrude them out through the gear. I'm going to cut, and that's good like that. Last but not least, we just need to add a little chamfer to these 3 points. 0.1 inches is going to be fine. The reason being is I'm going to mount this gear to this holder, and that's what's going to actually drive this thing to rotate around in circles there. All right, now I'm going to make one more helical gear. I'm going to create a helical gear. This one is going to be a 9-tooth gear. The position is going to be on that plane right there. And I don't actually know where the center is going to be right off the top of my head, but I can preview it, and it's not really drawing it in the right place. Maybe I have to pick a center, and then I can always move it later. Yeah, I have to pick a center, and I can move it later. And the position, I'm going to change to back. There we go. Click OK. And now I'm going to make my main document my active component just so we can see all of the kibbles and bits here. Now I just need to move the component that is that helical gear. Need to move it down. And you see those green, faint green lines, those faint green circles? We want to move our helical gear so our 2 green circles are not quite touching. You can see there's a circle here and here's a circle here. You want to make it so they're just not quite touching. That'll give you a good connection between the 2 gears. And then we can say cool. I'm actually going to move this helical gear inside of my bracket component. I'll say capture position, because why not? All right, now we can actually make our bracket. So I'll make my bracket my active component. I'll create a sketch. You know what I want to do is actually, before I create my sketch here, I want to locate exactly where the center of this whole thing is. So I'm going to make a midplane. That's a plane that's directly between 2 surfaces. And now I can create a sketch on that midplane. I'm going to start by projecting over my center point, drawing a 1.5-inch circle, and then drawing a line down 3.25 inches. And that's longer than it needs to be because when it rotates, it gets longer at the diagonals. We'll draw a line out 1.5 inches. Let's actually draw it out 2 inches. And connect it tangent to our circle. Then we just need to mirror those items over our center line. Make my center line a construction line. And believe it or not, that is all we need to do with our bracket. Actually, I lied. I'm going to make one. Oh, hey, do I have 2 sketches here? Look at that. I can just delete that one. Name this one my bracket. I'm going to edit that sketch. And I'm just going to project over the center here of that little helical gear, just so I have that for future reference. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my sheet metal area here, and I'm going to make a flange. I'm going to make that flange. Oh, I missed a circle. Edit sketch. I missed my 4.25 millimeter circle there. Now I can make a flange. And I'm going to make it out of my 18 gauge steel. And I'm going to... It's kind of a bummer that I can't... Tell you what, here's the thing that you can do. When you make a sketch, turns out I don't want a mid-plane here. I want a plane that exists over on this side here. So I'm actually going to go back in time. I'm going to construct an offset plane right here, 0.05 inches away from there. And now, if I go into the future here, I thought I could redefine sketch plane. So that sketch is now going to be made there. Now I can click on my create flange option. Can make my flange out of my 18 gauge steel. And I'm going to say oakley dokley. Now I'm going to make another flange. Going to turn that sketch off so it doesn't get in my way here. And I'm going to make that flange. I want it to go to my halfway point. So I'm going to turn on that mid plane. I'm going to turn off the visibility on my paper container, and then I can extrude it just by clicking on that mid plane. I extrude it right to the middle of everything. And then last but not least, I can make a mirror of that body over that plane. Join the... Oh, look at you. You're not connected. It's interesting that they're not connected, seeing as how... Yeah, they're not connected. When I make this flange, I thought for sure I could click there and it would go all the way there, but apparently it does not. Let's try just doing it manually. I'm going to say okay. And tell you what, just because it wouldn't let me extrude right to that plane, I'm going to mirror it, not over that mirror plane, but I'm going to mirror it over its own edge. right there. Join. Okay. Turn on my paper container here. Close down all of my gears. And I should probably like hide my construction planes. Make my main document my active component. Then I just need to do my last item here, which is make my active component my bracket. I got this gear motor off of the internet. You guys can find it too. I gotta save it before I can do that. Ice cream maker version 2. Insert into current design. Just gonna put it wherever because then I can use in my solid area. I can go back to align and I can align that on that. And I can flip it. Cool. And then I can rotate this component. Just spinny spin, spin. Cool. Capture position and done. It's just that easy. Just for fun, let's turn off my sketches that I don't need to see right now. I'll go ahead and grab my appearance options here, and I'll find my paper, which I think is in other. Nope, it's in miscellaneous maybe. I know paper is an option. I'm gonna search for it. There you go, paper, white. And then I'm gonna grab my metal because I made this out of stainless steel, satin, and then finally I've got some plastic bits, plastic, ABS white. These are 3D printed bits here. And I printed them out of gray, so I'm just going to go ahead and change that color to gray. Say OK, close, boom. Done and done. So that's what we're doing in the long version of class today, where people will ask questions and I will answer them. But if you like the fast version, we're giving this a try.